Hello and welcome to the Fummins build part 2, where we are taking the Cummins engine out of this 2005 Dodge Ram 2500 and putting it in this 2009 F350. So I bought this truck with a blown up 6.4 diesel in it. That's why we're going to be swapping the Cummins in it. It's a pretty cool truck. It's fully loaded, has all the options, 4-wheel drive, etc. So in episode 1, we got the wiring harness out of this truck, got the wiring harness out of this truck, and we went through all of our swap parts from Diesel Conversion Specialists. They're the ones who make the swap kit for this truck: adapter plate, flex plate, hoses, lines, fittings, pedal module, everything. And with all of that out of the way, the real fun begins. It is time to dive into this thing and start fully tearing it apart. We need to strip the engine out, the trans out, pretty much anything else of value out. I want to go through the engine and make sure it's in good mechanical shape and check it out. We are going to be upgrading it as well, but one thing at a time. Let's start tearing this thing apart. All right, oil is drained. Drain pan is emptied into containers so I can take them to the dump. We are ready to proceed. So I think the best plan is going to be to just strip the whole front of the truck off and start working from there. Might as well get everything out of our way that we can before we start diving in down here. This truck had a ton of Georgia clay underneath it. It's such a mess trying to work under it. So I figured if I pressure wash it off now, then maybe by the time I have to go under there a bunch of times, it'll be dry, hopefully. All right, I think we can pull this out and then we will have a ton of room here. Got it. Hands are all tingly now. All right, now we got some serious space to work on this thing. This should be cake. Guess I'll go ahead and pull the clutch fan off. I really need the tool for that. I'm gonna try it without the tool. See if I can get it off. Can't pull the power steering reservoir off because the bolt hits the power steering pulley. Pull the whole pump out? Probably better anyway. All right, AC compressor is off. Power steering pump, I don't believe we'll be using that in the Ford. So that is off and to the side. I think we'll be using the Ford power steering pump. Yeah, I need to finish up some stuff up here and then the fun part of going underneath and getting the stuff from back there. All right, well, after a bunch of reaching around, barely being able to reach because the fan was in the way, I broke down, went and got the fan clutch removal tool and got it off, which was kind of a struggle. My last truck, the Dodge I had to do the fan clutch on it and it popped right off. It was no problem. So now I'm basically just working my way back. I'm getting back here. The fuel lines, you know, I was trying not to cut them, but obviously I'm not gonna put anything back. Like, this truck's gonna get scrapped. I just wanna make sure I keep as much stuff intact as possible. So, you know, if I need that fuel line to put on the other truck or something like that, I have it. So I'm attempting to not destroy stuff, but you know, it's one of those things. Okay, well, here's where things get not so fun. So I need to unbolt the bell housing bolts, torque converter bolts. I'll also need to pull the transmission out. I think I'm going to pull the engine out separate of the transmission. I just think it's smarter that way because it's going to have enough on our hands pulling the engine out. But anyway, the one thing that sucks about this truck is it's so dirty under here. I mean, every time you freaking, well, what's that point? Every time you touch something, dirt goes flying everywhere. Like, look at that. Just caked on everything. If it weren't for that, this wouldn't be bad at all. But man, it's very dirty under here. So, I guess I'm gonna get back to work. Oh man. All right, so my friends Raldo and Josue are here. Long time friends. I mean, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
10 years. Literally since I started working on cars, I've been friends with them. So anyway, Raldo has a white Dodge. I have a white Dodge door. I'm not going to use the door, so he's taking the door to put on his truck because his is a little messed up. But the funniest part of the story is Josue was looking around and he opened the gas cap and literally there's $30. You can see how dirty it is in the gas cap. Like what? So random. So I mean, that's cool. That's some money back into the build budget, I guess. 30 bucks, dude. That's like, that's a jug of oil. I've never, yeah, I don't know that I've ever found money in a car.
Like 20 bucks before, but not that was a whole 30.
A 30, a 20, and a 10. Two decent sized bills. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty wild.
Dirty money. I don't want that back.
Oh, they got it. Look at that. Freaking professionals.
Drive home with 3 doors.
Right. All right, well, I think the engine's ready to come out. Disconnect the motor mounts and start pulling it out and figure out what else I didn't unhook. But I've got everything that I can think of, so I'm gonna go for it. You going?
Maybe we should put some tension on the engine. Do like suspend it. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I was about to say, I'm like, where's the engine gonna go when the stud comes out? I figured it would just. I thought it was just gonna be like there.
Yeah, so did I.
Hanging out.
Whoops. No, I mean it's almost out.
Everybody still has their limbs, which is good.
Definitely it's gonna have to tilt. So grab this thing's pretty cool for this hitter.
Oh man, that's pretty nice.
It's like you're going for it. Look at that! Get it out! Alright, take 2. This time we got the engine supported, so we're alright. Alright, we got one motor mount bolt out. The engine is being held by the engine hoist. We'll need to bring it up high enough to get this mount out of that, basically that channel that it's sitting in. So it's gonna have to come up and then forward. And we gotta get it up enough to kind of angle it and pop it off the trans. So it's a good thing there's 3 of us. You ready? Nuts off. Okay, so now we just gotta get the engine at the right height to pull this thing out. Can you bump it up a little bit? Keep going. A little more. Oh God. I don't know why this thing's not coming out. Okay, I need 2 hands.
I'll watch from under, but I'll
Okay.
be very far back.
Yeah, it'll be in,
Like
in the safe zone underneath. All right, moving to truce. Come out. It's going up, going up. We're gonna start. Now we're hitting the truck.
Is it?
It was just the chain sliding like off the valve cover where it was caught.
Lifting the truck.
Yeah, here, I guess let me try to move coming down. I'm gonna try to move the hoist a little more forward.
To angle it?
Yeah, so maybe it'll angle that way some. Still like getting caught on this side or anything else. What?
You disconnected the converter and stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. It's splitting off.
So this bolt is really what's screwing us here. Because it's like that bolt has to come all the way out. It's just pivoting on. Clear?
Yep.
Green. There we go. I think what I'm going to have to do is unbolt this clamshell of the mount so that we can slide it forward. You know what I mean? Like unbolt the rubber portion.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best move.
to get off the engine mount.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, we
It
can't.
needs to slide forward.
Yeah, we can't go up high enough for.
Hold on. Time out.
What? Oh, time out.
You missed the training bolt, my guy.
Did I?
Yeah. 14.
It should be a 15.
Right here. It's, it looks like it's the one that holds the training dipstick.
Oh.
So training dipstick to training bolt.
So I'm thinking we can go.
Should we go down a little, or does it? Oh no, you need.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
We could try to go down a little. Go down a little, and then we should be able to go. I'm gonna see if we can just go over. Now that that one's gone, and then we'll have to kind of bring the bolt back. Nah, it's probably not gonna work.
Oh, where's that?
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
Oh man.
Now we need to try to go.
Thing.
Now you gotta try to. Okay. Alright, now I think. Oh, I gotta kick the front of this shit over.
Try to go down a little because we're on the valve cover. Okay, and now we go forward until the pin, I guess. Get forward enough. Alright, now we go up. Oh, we're definitely off the training.
Yeah, I would say so.
Perfect. A little bit more. A little more. I think we're good. We're good on this side. Let me look at the other side.
I don't know, dude. That's weird. Look at that, dude.
Hold on.
Oh,
Just another
wait.
ground wire.
Damn.
Fucking ground
I thought we
wire.
made it.
All the
Oh, God.
relax.
Excited. This is so hyped, dude. I thought this was going to be way harder. You always forget something.
Always.
I forgot two things, at least. So Sway caught the bell housing bolt. Well, you caught both of them.
The two ground straps and the bell housing.
Oh, yeah, the other ground strap. So I forgot a few things, but, you know, it's fine.
Not bad. That's the usual. Like with the ground straps. Just the Boom. Voila.
Ta-da! That is so hyped, dude. Look at that. Dude, good job, guys.
That's a lot.
Seriously, couldn't have done it without you. We gotta pose for a thumbnail now. You just gotta come get somewhere in the picture, do like a thumbs up or something. Perfect. It's a lot. It's a big motor, man. It is actually out. That really wasn't that bad. It just seemed like there was a lot of stuff I couldn't see that was gonna still be hooked up. Which there was a couple things, but not as much as I thought. That was pretty much like the same amount on just about any engine pull. But I mean, overall, it's out. That's so exciting. Should I paint it? You don't think so?
Just wash it, pressure wash it, send it on its way.
You don't think I should paint it cat yellow? No, I'm just kidding. Cummins is red, right?
Get the clay off.
Yeah, the clay needs to come off. Definitely getting pressure washed like right now. Dude, I'm like elated. I was really concerned that this was gonna be a big struggle.
How even it's just sitting right there.
Yeah, it's like we got the chain location to get it out is like the perfectly level chain location. All right, motor's out. Yeah, I'm gonna start getting her cleaned up, I guess. Clean it with oven cleaner. So this is a good trick if you're cleaning a motor. Oven cleaner is $1 a can at the parts store, or not the parts store, the dollar store. So it's a lot cheaper than engine degreaser, and it works honestly better than any engine degreaser I've used. Some people say it's bad on paint, so maybe be careful with it, but definitely cheaper than $5 a can. No, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Stand back. right, motor is clean. I mean, it's not perfectly clean. I might paint it. I haven't decided if I want to paint the whole thing or not, but it is way cleaner than it was. The key here is really just getting it clean enough so that when you touch it, you don't get super dirty. I hate that. That's the extent I usually try to clean stuff, just enough to where it's not super dirty so I don't get covered in grease every time I work with it. But it looks way better. I mean, it looks like brand new. Definitely gonna at least paint the valve cover, but anyway, it's clean. Now it's time to get it in the shop. All right, got the motor in the shop. This is a big step, man. I am so excited to have this thing out of that truck in the shop, ready for us to tear into it, upgrade it, do what we need to do, and then be ready to stuff it into the Ford, man. I'm hyped. That went so smoothly. I am so glad that Raldo and Josue were here. I love those dudes so much. I've known them for so long. A lot of my first, beginning car memories of learning how to drift and going street drifting and working on my car and all that stuff were with them. So it was really cool to have them here for that project. They're awesome dudes. I love those guys. So anyway, they left. But before I called in the evening, I'm gonna pull the valve cover off and take a gander in here and just see what we got going on, see what we're working with. So gotta move this chain out of the way. I don't wanna move the hoist out of the way completely yet because I might move this engine to another spot. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna pull this valve cover off. All right, well, I mean, nothing seems to be amiss in here. Everything looks fine. I wanted to see, you can see there's a new line here, and I noticed this when I first got the truck. I wanted to see if there was a new injector here, but it doesn't, it doesn't look to be new. It looks pretty much the exact same amount of varnish and staining that all the other ones have, so I would assume they just replaced that. Maybe that started leaking or something, so they just replaced that hard line. I definitely think we've got a bad injector somewhere in the bunch, just based on the way the engine ran. So either way, even if we didn't, I would want to redo these. I also want to do head gasket, head studs. I just kind of want to go through it and make sure everything is solid. I'm not usually a while you're there kind of guy because you end up just going down the rabbit hole and your project takes way longer to get finished. But this is one of those projects, I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to leave anything to chance. I don't want to mess with it. It's not like my LS Miata where, I'm constantly modifying and revising it and changing things. And it's not a big deal if some part doesn't work out or some part fails because there's probably something I want to upgrade that I've got to take off anyway to get to that part and whatever. It's not like this. I want to build this truck and then I want to use it. I want to tow my car like my LS Miata around the country and not have to deal with it. So definitely want to go through this thing, make sure it is solid. But for tonight, we are unfortunately out of time. I wanted to get a little more work done, but it's dark, it's getting a little chilly, and I pressure washed under the truck to get a lot of that clay off so that next time I'm under there pulling the trans and transfer case and all that stuff out, it is not such a miserable experience. So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna pull everything of value that we can off of the Dodge that's not gonna make it miserable to move. Like we could sell the axles, but if I take the axles out, then how am I gonna move the thing? But we're gonna take everything that should sell easily and is worth decent money off of it, get it listed, all that stuff, figure out what we're gonna do with that truck, hopefully get the Ford over and start tearing into it. So I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, goodbye.